Regan Slaymaker for Not Just Boxing. I had the pleasure to be joined by the former IBF Super Flyweight World Champion Sonny Edwards. Sonny, it's been a while, mate, but Thomas Essomba's just done the business in his comeback fight this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long drive.
From Sheffield, yeah?
I'm not from Sheffield.
Oh, Scotland, yes.
I came from Scotland.
Yes, you did.
We were still celebrating about 12 hours ago. Heads to voice. We didn't stop. What a fantastic night! Honestly, one of the better nights I've had in my whole boxing life. Honestly,
wow.
It meant that much to me. Not that I cared to prove that to anyone, but it really did.
Definitely, we'll start there. I mean, Brandon Daord, new British champion. I mean, first British champion in the real fighters only stable. I mean,
and just to add it a bit more special, that belt was the physical belt, the same one. So that belt I had in my house and my brother had in his house before that.
Of course.
So my first British title is our belt. Out of all the ones, it's that one. And not just like the same division, I'm talking, because we didn't win it outright and no one has since. It's still the same touch belt. So that was good to have back in my hands, and I was very proud and very happy for Brandon, a good friend of mine, man.
Definitely, and a fighter that you've sparred and a fighter that you've backed, I mean, for a long, long time as well. How did it feel for him to pick up that title?
When I'm training in Liverpool, when I'm training in Liverpool, I'm staying at his family house. He's not even staying there. I'm staying with his brothers Taylor and the rest of the family. I'm staying there and going to the gym from there. Most weeks that I was there. So, yeah, he's like family for me, really. And it's just, he's had a stalled career by no fault of his own, apart from signing something and then falling out the person and now getting shelved and not really having the support to know how to get out of it. And fun fact, Brandon Daord turned pro before me.
Wow.
And another fun fact, age 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, Brandon Daord was 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of Sonny Edwards. If I was winning the national title, he'd won 3 already and boxed for England in the Europeans, got a medal. Like, Brandon Daord out of the Everton Red Triangle Connect was the fighter at my age, in my opinion anyway. Don't get me wrong, they're all good kids, Andrew, Peter, but Brandon just had something special about him then, in my opinion, and I genuinely mean that. Like, he was always a weight above me, so I never fought him. And he's the one that some of the Triangle lads now say, or ex-Triangle lads say, well, you never had Brandon, you know what I mean? I beat a few of them boys, for context. But it's been a great rivalry from my amateurs, and obviously it's kind of crazy how Chris, ex-trainer, has kind of connected in with me. Brandon, now my first British champion. It's crazy, to be honest, and yeah, just over the moon, seriously.
Definitely. Now he's got that British title, is it think now that Brandon can get that opportunity on a big platform and kind of shine like you did as well? Yeah,
I mean, he performed really well. I know, okay, it wasn't the most common boxing platform, so a few people missed that it was happening, and the weigh-in helped get a few eyes on it, though. Fiery weigh-in. If you didn't see it, go and check it.
I'll have a look at that, Sonny.
But yeah, he...
what happened at the weigh-in before you, just in case people missed it?
Go and see it. I don't... snitches get stitches, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'll leave it
there. Go and watch the weigh-in. And then go watch the fight from that, because both fighters, terrific fighters. And you better watch the fight back, I'm pretty sure. BBC iPlayer's got it, so it'll be accessible to everyone. And he performed really well. And he boxed a very good fighter and a bigger fighter. He boxed a super flyweight. At super flyweight, he's a flyweight. Genuinely, organically, he's a flyweight, so he doesn't blow up. He goes to like 55, 56 kilo at the heaviest, a few conversations sort of before where he'd got to a point where people had started to like take an eye a bit more, and I'd been trying to bang the drum as much as possible and get his story out there a bit more and shed light on how good his amateurs was. I'm talking like Youth Commonwealth Games, Worlds, like. He was the England amateur kid. He was like the blue star prospect that you're going to have coming through the amateurs. He was that win national title every single year that he entered. And then at 18 he turned pro, and then it got stalled after a couple of fights, and then, we struggled to pick momentum up, but all of that got clicked better last night with a win on the road, a win in the away corner, a win up against it, against a good fighter at the weight above what he actually is, and I couldn't be more proud of him. And he showed his class and showed slickness. There was flair, there was talking to each other, big shots landing, neither of them giving up, neither of them slowing down. It was one of a real, they said it there in the night, that's going to be one of the best British title fights that we see this year, and I really agree. I know we're only in February, so it's not hard to be so far, but seriously a good fight. Go watch it if you haven't, man. Brandon Daord and the new.
Definitely as well, and the new, and I'm sure we'll get a big opportunity soon as well. And then Ed Hardy as well, getting a stoppage win on the GBM show. I mean, for those that don't know Ed Hardy, the farm boy, what can they expect when they watch him next time he's in the ring, Sonny?
Oh wow, I mean, Ed, especially his last 2 fights, but his debut as well. I think he learned enough lessons in the first round of his debut. He took a couple of backhands, and he's not put a foot wrong since. And he got a stoppage against Sean Jackson. And it was his first stoppage loss. Look, he boxed Essomba today, and he went the distance over 4 rounds, and Ed went straight through him. Okay, Ed is a bit bigger than Essomba, and a different sort of style, but he's showing straight away maturity and power and IQ way above his years. He's touching the target to make sure he can get there. He's controlling the range. He's marking them up, and the moment they make a mistake or he puts them in a bad position, he bursts like he really means it. And he lets his hands go. He threw 6 left uppercuts in a row, bap, 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 and then put the kid down. And then the kid just survived, and he stopped him straight into the second round, put him down again, and exactly how you want to start of a young career to go. And he's fighting some like half tough lads as well, like South Americans and that, not just bring it as easy as you can get through. And yeah, Ed's more than impressed me, and like I said, and I wasn't trying to be out of order, probably way more than I initially expected the first couple of years. I thought it might take a little bit longer. Good fighter, strong, tough, but he was always really just having a fight all the time. All the time he was getting in the ring, he was just worrying about a fight from the amateurs. And then Pierce Goodjohn has done a fantastic job of him. Really just calmed him down, but picking his moments when he goes like that and he switches to how he used to want to fight, and he's finding like a very perfect balance right now. There's a long way to go. Of course there is. He's winning his first 6-rounder, but I'm very excited about this journey, because when you have a good fighter, they got good talent, they apply themselves, and they've got good protection around him to make sure they don't fall into any of the many traps in boxing, then they could usually go quite a little bit anyway. They could usually go quite a little bit.
Definitely as well. Final one from me, Sonny, because I know you've done a few. I think there's a few more people waiting to interview you. But your management, the title of your management company is Real Fighters Only. You look at the conversation that Eddie's been saying around about matchmaking, tougher matchmaking. We saw Giorgio.
He got that off me. I've had fighters. I'm not going to name them. I've had fighters saying to me, "Hey, you need to stop with that Real Fighters Only and Real Fighters Only," because the promoters are starting to say it.
But so they
he got that off me. But he's right, because do you know what Real Fighters Only does? These are the learning fights. You see where we are tonight? TNT, GBM. They're where you have the learning fights on the way up.
Sure.
And the higher up the card, the less of a learning fight it is, and the more of an event it is. But when you go onto a big platform, big promoters, a lot of people in the crowd, from the beginning to the end, it needs to be proper action. And the only way you do that is not by building records, not by giving him an easy fight against him, not saying, oh yeah, we'll do this. Like, no, it's putting someone, even if they're both 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, similar close records that look like they match next to each other. Okay, they can be a favourite. No one's begrudging the home fighter being the favourite. Just put someone in that can actually teach him a lesson or two. Because not only are you saving the boxer's career, you're saving the sport that we're all in. Every time someone has to sit there, they've paid £100 for a ticket and watch 4 fights in a row where there's no point in the fight happening, it kills the sport. 10% of the crowd at least will never go to a boxing fight again every time that happens.
Definitely as well. It bleeds into your career, Sonny. I mean, you look at those wins against Adrian Granados earlier in your career. I mean,
here that was.
Was that here as well?
That was here.
I didn't know that. So
I got dropped here, my first time in my life.
I mean, you get up like the rest of your career, Sonny. You get up and you win the fights and you win world titles.
If I get stopped, I get stopped on my feet. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We know how Real Fighters Only, Sonny. But I mean, it's something that you're bleeding over from your career into your fighter's career. When we look at Giorgio Visioli, I think he's being matched tough, but matched correctly as well.
Yeah.
You've just touched on there, but
it takes boxing people to know that.
Exactly.
That's the problem, and that's why you don't see that often, because a lot of the great managers aren't boxing people. But that's why matching is hard sometimes.
But is that why you want to bring the same element that you had in your career into the fighters that you manage? Because you know that the cream will always rise to the top. Is that why you're doing it?
I'm kind of on, like, in my head, in my humble little head, I feel like I'm doing the work of what God would want me to do. I know it sounds crazy, yeah, but I know and I love boxing. I have always my best relationships in my life with other fighters, friendship-wise, and I love coming to the boxing. Partner them all up and together, a clean heart that knows what it feels like to be a prospect that no one cared about. Not even a prospect, just barely a professional boxer, like probably shouldn't have been considered to start. And then bit by bit you build it up and you learn a few things, and then you have to learn a few lessons. Like I've had my brother to learn from. I've had all my close friends, and then have my fighters to learn from again. I'm trying to use everything that I've gained to best represent my fighters in a way that is honest, fair, and that they deserve. And I genuinely mean that. And if you look after the fighter, and you serve the fighter, and you keep the relationship good with the fighter, then you typically don't have to worry about fighters leaving. You know, if you choose to opt for making stronger relationships outside of the fighters, promoters, other managers, broadcasts, whatever it may be, you're not always serving the fighter, because at one point you're going to get told manners on the phone, and you're going to have to go to your fighter and talk him off the cliff, take an hour to get to the bit that was definitely going to be the end of the conversation anyway. And I learn through watching and seeing other people's mistakes and my mistakes as well, and I feel like that's one of the biggest things that we fighters be really doing right now. And I'm probably upsetting a couple of people, because unfortunately, without them getting in, they'll know who they are. And other people won't know. But for my thing is, and don't get me wrong, I get the business model outside of it, but real fighters only, real friends only. We stick by our fighters, by the fighters, for the fighters. Definitely.
Well and truly, the fighter's fighter, Sonny Edwards, always a pleasure. And can I just say, just to end this video, you're one of the first people who trusted me and my brother to do interviews with me. And
look how that ended up. Which was it, you or your brother that was the leak?
My brother. My brother, it weren't me.
I'm sure he says that.
No, he doesn't.
I'm sure he says that.
He might do, but I never tell a lie to you, Sonny. So
that's what he said as well.
You know me, but I always appreciate your time, Sonny, and I wish you nothing but success for the rest of your career.
I appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers, Sonny.